Delveltje, goedenavond. Good evening, everyone. It is English spoken. I will. It's a bit a different evening maybe than other evenings on Tuesday evening. Hey, Yvonne, welcome. I'm a bit belated. And I chose to do music because I like music. Delveltje, am I the first? Yeah, you're the first one. And as well, everyone also on Rumble, welcome. And I will prepare the chat for Rumble as well. So I will go there. I hope I'm live there. Hello everyone on Rumble and on TVOP and in Davini. And the light is being flickering again, and it's the same setting as last week, so it is last Saturday, so it is what it is. Let's hope that it will go better with the lighting. I really need some professional lighting, I think, for the background. Anyway, welcome everyone. Hey Bastoon, welcome. Thank you so much for the sharing. It is incredible, all the sharing and and so many times that you do that. I'm so grateful for that, so thank you so much. Okay, so I am live on Rumble as well. Welcome everyone on Rumble. Oh, let's check the echo, and the chat is now, I think, showable on Prism as well. Yeah. All right. Hello, Sputniki. Hello, Rita. Rita, I say it in English, Rita. Well, let's hope for the best that the lighting will go smooth tonight. So for tonight, I have Rumble prepared. Yeah, everything. So nice that you all are here, by the way, on this. Yeah, it is, of course, in the Netherlands. It's like, how you say that in English? It's like in May, certain date. Oh my gosh, there I go. Oh boy. I will go now to Twitch as well. That is muted. Hey, Jos Schover, welcome again. Always great to have you here as well. That counts for everyone. And I forgot to say hello to everyone on YouTube. I believe YouTube is there as well. Hello. So for tonight, I did an extra idea for tonight. I have arranged with someone who, as you know, I have to quit at the max 10:30 here in the Netherlands where I'm streaming. But he was so kind and so sweet of him that I want to go live again at 11:30 Amsterdam time. Yeah, you hear that well, 11:30 p.m. as well. To maybe get more people from abroad, from the USA, etc. Let's see if it works out, because I felt a lot of resistance to that, and the live stream on its own is already very intense for me. So I'm not sure if I even can make it with my energy, but let's see, because I always react on changes, and now the flickering is happening again. The camera, focus camera. Oh man, I hope it will change this lighting. Yeah, I apologize for the lighting, for the flickering again. It's a pity. But I hope it will change. Wait, can I do something about that? Well, I will leave it, dear people. So if it's too annoying, then let me know. Welcome, everyone. So what am I going to talk tonight? Well, before I was preparing, I had a pretty okay day, better than previous day, because I'm in the deprogramming, bumping into what I expressed Saturday, a lot of reactions on the satanic rituals and so on. So that was pretty tough to deal with. And it's your flashing personality, Delvetje says. Well, I'm not sure if I feel so flashy tonight. That it's interesting with me that suddenly innerly things turned. Like I felt a bit flat. Like but it is because I planned on later on at 10:30 again to go live. So then I feel a certain resistance because it's then different from the normal pattern in me, and that's developed in all the years of deprogramming here. That when something is different than usual, then I respond on that. So. Sputniki, the flickering is gone. Yeah, for now. I still see it. Well, let's see how it will go. Well, I dimmed everything here, so I don't get it. No lights on. So, I will leave it. So that's the thing. So maybe I will then stop what I'm now talking about for now at 10 o'clock. That depends. Or I leave the stream on. I'm not sure, but I will take a break. And I will check if I feel energetic enough to go live at 11:30 again. But you're invited, of course, to join. But maybe for some, it is a too late time. Jos, your aura has grown again, and so has your spirit, Monique. Oh, well, that's a great boost, Jos. Yvonne, maybe the cam a little bit more to your right. Yeah, maybe I did that and then it started to... wait, I can do a bit more like this. Is that better? now you have you on the couch. Oh, gosh. Is it better? Oh, man. Like this, maybe? Pulse is back. Hold hand for land, stand away. Hey, Barry! Great that you're here. If that stops it for a while, it is auto white balance. Ah, okay. That's why I see these streamers or on YouTube a lot doing like this. You see, now you see my fingers. Closer. Closer. Then you see my hand. Like this? Cap it off. Okay, cap it off. I did cap it off. For how long, Barry? Yeah, I know, Jos Schover. Yeah, I know, Jos. You can read and feel the energy. Well, it's great confirmation. Nope, all the white balance. Oh, man. I don't know. Is it like this then? No, it's... Yeah, I will leave it. Yeah, it's flickering me for tonight. Nah, yeah. Oh, gosh. I leave it. Let's hope it will stop. And should I be sitting more straight or... Hello, hello. And again on Rumble, thank you for joining. And you're, of course, welcome to chat. And the chat I made visible for also the people on Rumble. Okay. I will go this up. One bit. Okay. All right. And then one thing changing. Oh, I do now too much. I was already in a hurry. I was at the last minutes before I went live. I saw my dear friend here and we just wanted to talk a bit. So, and suddenly, it was past 7. All right. So now this a bit bigger. So how is this? This is nicer. Ah, you're going to make cappuccino, Jos. Lekker, lekker. That sounds great. All right, for tonight. So I will follow the flow. Like if I feel that I wanna quit this live stream earlier for having a break to continue at 11:30, I still have to figure out if I have energy to continue at 10:30. But as I told in the beginning, I feel resistance, inner resistance to go live at 11:30. So I challenged then myself to go live later in the evening, in the night. So let's see how it goes. Well, for tonight, I wanted to talk, especially about, of course, my deprogramming. It goes far better with me innerly, like after last Saturday. That was such healing vibes for me. I survived Mother's Day. And I laugh, but I know I am not the only one who has, well, it's always a bit a tough day for me, every Mother's Day, and I try to ignore it, and I am not crying any longer on Mother's Day, but I do feel it, and so I survived that too, and yeah, I'm doing actually pretty well with my inner roller coaster of transforming with the integration and my core. So what I wanted to talk for tonight is what I talked also about Saturday in the Dutch Live, about artifacts, and what I discovered also off-planet and on other colonizations, and I do that after the break. And let's see how far that will go. And let's also hope and pray that the flickering will be gone by then. Yeah, I don't know how I can change it, so I will leave it. And what I wanted to talk about is especially about it in all the years of deprogramming. I was extremely confronted with many disbelief and not believing me. And I felt like, well, I can mix that with talking also about my monarch programming, because there is a lot more to talk about and details, and I still want to do a live stream on more extended details of me having met the presidents of the USA, of which I was a monarch. And I hope I have more, I have more access to the part in my brain who have these memories. So I in the live stream notice that I feel blocked as well in that subject. So let's hope for the best. Hallo Marco Want, welkom Marco. When you know along the energy-wise timetable might do updates on, so people can check that. Energy-wise timetable. I don't get that really, Barry, but you mean the timer countdown. Yeah, I forgot the timer countdown. If you were meaning that specifically. So the disbelief. Well, the disbelief and not being believed is a giant factor and subject in MKUltra and in programming. Overall, also with abuse, sexual abuse, and traumas, with traumas related abuse. Because it is, of course, the most important thing for the programmers, in my case, that no one would ever believe me. And I watched a bit. I rewatched a bit about last live stream, and that I was talking about that was very recent, when there was a former president of the United States was here in the Netherlands, and that he was very near to where I was at that moment, and I could have been closer to him, literally within a few hundred meters, if I would have gone to that park where he was. But that also previous week, that in the night, that there was a heavy military helicopter flowing above our neighborhood, and it runs then circles, and this is part of the non-belief what is so strongly built in me, and what I as well did develop more and more. And even in the deprogramming, I came across that. And I like to talk about that too, because that is an incredible confrontation, and extremely feeling alone in the deprogramming. And actually, I still feel a lot of times alone, and then especially in the small world I have in the physical here, so where I live. As you know, no one knows what I'm really doing here, except maybe one person, maybe. But it is because I was so many years not being believed and told that no one believed me. So it is a very tough subject for me to talk about emotionally, and that's why I decided to just talk about it, because then, I can, of course, also guide the inner personalities in me who are still integrating and have the feeling they will never be believed. And that is still the case, by the way. When I go outside here where I live, it is also an advantage to that no one knows what I'm doing, of course, because privacy has its advantages. But it's the other side is that it extremely can feel alone. And in the first years of the deprogramming, I was losing friends more and more. And also with the dear friend who took me under her wings. I talked about that extendedly, how grateful I am that she took me under her wings, and she believed me. She was the first one who did believe me in the front life when I was starting my deprogramming journey, what I at that time still did not know of even. But then I lost more and more friends. But of course, this dear friend has also her family and friends, of which, well, I know them. And that is hard to, that I gradually, when I started the deprogramming, it's so hard for people to see me living inside a house. I'm a grown-up woman, and I was totally dedicated, and I still am, to fully deprogram. And no one could grasp that, like that I quit my whole working life, my whole independency, because I had my own life. And again, I say that a lot, but I was my whole life independent in the front life. Already at a young age, I started to do music, etc. And when I was on the conservatory and I did music therapy, so I lived on my own. I was living in out of the house for a couple of years when I was studying in Nijmegen. So I was just independent. And when this dear friend told me, like, Monique, now I almost have to tell you, you have to quit your life, because otherwise the programmers can get you physically. And the programmers did attempt to get me through, for example, some professions I had. After that, I already quit the music life. So I was already trying to heal from the Dutch sexual abuse life and so on. And I did not know yet about my MKUltra. But I was very determined. I believe it was in 2007 or 2008. And I did that with the help of the government. I don't know if that project is still there, but it was called in the Netherlands like an integration project. And I wanted to start to work again, because then I felt like then I can get out of this independency, which I hate. I always hated that. But it is extremely, and for me still hard to accept that I am still dependent. And that independency was built in my programming, that I would stay dependent on as little money as possible. So that was also a programming in me, and that is being done with also black magic. So I worked on that also in these years here in deprogramming, to get rid of that poverty programming. Well, everything was like going against me for the world outside, what they saw of me. So when I started to deprogramming, I felt in the first years, and then I skipped a couple of years from 2007, 2008, because there I was doing that government integration project. That's how they called it. It's literally translated from Dutch. And there I did some jobs, which I initially did like, but I found out that I was still being used and by the programmers. And where I worked was specifically, that was handy for the programmers. And I will not say where I worked because, and it is already years ago, but I feel a bit now I know everything, a bit, of course, guilty. And I know I should not be guilty. But I worked for a bank and for insurance company. Yeah, totally different than music or creativity, I know. But I must say I liked it because I had the feeling like I can be independent again. And that for me, it was like that I also could then skip the years of not being dependent from the dear friend. Because I still had my own independency, like a financial base, let's say it like that. But it was so hard, getting harder and harder to do the job because I was still being used. And then in 2010, then I met for the last time a USA president, which was, you can, and again, a request. I believe that I'm still safe and not really being attacked by officials or whatever, how you call that, because I don't call for names. So please, can I ask you to not mention any names? I think you all know who I mean. In 2010, the president then, and that's enough, I guess. Everyone knows who that is. So please don't avoid calling names. And that is for my safety. And I feel literally safer to keep on talking about this subject. This president, why do I combine all these things? Because it is connected to not being believed. Because when I, for example, was doing that job and I was still being used, and by the way, I was doing a job in a bank of which I had a certain, profession there, of which I could enter the computer systems. So that was for the programming, of course, extremely handy. And many people know that who work for banks, that you have to, sign, of course, that you keep everything private, and I will do that, I will honor that. But for programming, it was ideal because I could then reach in that bank secret system, etc. And I know with the military black ops that I'm still digging up a lot of percentages. I have the feeling that I still have more than 80% to dig up of my military black operations. And this last president, of which I met in 2010, he was an extreme important handler of mine who threatened me with my children. So the last time when I saw him in 2010, and there he also threatened me to do something with my children, so to hurt them or even worse. Or I would not be capable of ever seeing them. Well, I did not meet them any longer after 2010, and that is part of what is hard for me to deal with, especially on Mother's Day, because I know it is a commercial day. I never like commercials day, but it is of course, I do see that in the life around me, in the small world I have here, that, there are flowers behind me, and it is, I don't want to say too much about that, but that does enter in me, that I'm confronted with, no one sees my children. No one has seen my children. And that is really tough. That is the toughest thing for being former MKUltra as well. I wonder how all the others do that in their deprogramming. For me, it's one of the toughest things that I still have no proof. And I was last couple of days again thinking about how wonderful it would be for me to meet someone who would say, "Hey Monique, we knew each other, I knew you, and it would even be greater if that would someone who would have come from the programmed world and then would heal him or herself and then would say, Monique, let's walk hand in hand on the stage, or then show how these two worlds can go together and while being healed. And I still hope that the day will come. Maybe that is part of my mission. And then I feel a bit sad, but I'm truly really happy because I discovered so much about, that the capital love and everything around love, and combine what unconditional love, loving myself. So I feel I'm growing every day, but it still hurts me that there is no proof. And I know that you, the majority who watch this do believe me, and especially you in the chat I see every week. But it is still a hard subject that I bump into, specifically around Mother's Day, because there is no physical daughter or a son who then walks in with and not even he or she has to have some flowers, it's just having something physical of my life, and I bump into that a lot. And specifically after I went live, so in my after reactions. So again, it would be great that someone would come forward and talk and told me, Monique, I knew you, and it's true what you say. That would be the day, and I know it happens in that world that people do, recognize each other, start to meet each other. But and I know persons who have pictures of me with the person, but it is. I have to accept, I guess, but by expressing, and it's pure as well to also show my vulnerable part. That for me, it's the most vulnerable subject. Like, not having the proof. And as older as I get, I have to let go of meeting proof. But maybe it is because I crossed 50 plus years of age, that I get more real about, maybe that will never happen. And that I will always bump into, especially in the environment close to me, that the people don't believe me. That's what I feel. And I understand that, but it is very hard. So in my small world, and the people who know they know what we are doing, and they honor that. But I feel that I'm not being believed. And that is really hard to deal with. And many times I can cry about that, but not for too long, because I am a positive person. So specifically this year, there's so many beautiful things are happening and is happening in my life. So, and I trust them that my life is even getting better. So, and I love the live streaming. But it is a subject what I wanted to touch upon. Well, this to come back to this president, it will all come back to why I make that bridge. So the profession I had or the job I had in 2007, 2008 with these banks, and that I suddenly started to realize I have to quit, because otherwise I am no longer safe. I am no longer safe in deprogramming, and I don't know if I'm still being caught and being used for information and all kinds of programming in me. So that dear friend who is still sheltering me here in too many ways, I feel that every day how much she does for that. But that these 2007-8 that she told me, Monique, you have to give up your own house, your own financial things, and you have to stay with me. And not that she, of course, grabbed me like, Monique. No, it was my own decision. I decided as well, and I confirmed, it is no longer safe for me to stay or to travel even, because I had flashes of that I was captured from the street and so on. So, and especially from 2010, then it was for me very clear I had to stay even inside. So that happened then. I will read the chat. Delvertje. It is a lonely feeling, yeah. I'm sure other people feel that as well. I mean, and Mother's Day is also for a lot of people a lonely day. That counts for Father's Day as well, of course. Delftje, the fear of not being believed is known to all victims, I think. Yeah, I think they all suffer from that, Jos. Everything you have been taught from your childhood, most of it is a lie because your parents have been lied to as well. Search your own spiritual body and you will find the truth that you yourself are indirectly connected to God. Yeah, exactly. And that is, of course, that is true. That keeps me alive as well. But it is the physical longing. I have an incredible, especially since 2023, of which so many things, positive things, enter my path, my life's path, that I'm craving for the physical. So of course that then is adding, I guess, that longing, the physical longing. That's my feeling of it. Sunbeam Sting, hey Sunbeam Sting, and everyone on YouTube and on Rumble, the chat. You are also on screen if you wanna write something in the chat, type something in the chat, or just say hello where you're from. Love to get to know you. And Sunbeam Sting writes, for me, you give proof because your story is always the same, and also you can answer sometimes harder questions. And a person that lies does not act and react like you do. So for me, your stories are truthfully. Ah, that's so nice, heartwarming. Yeah, and I feel that. So I'm talking to you all, and I know that you believe me, of course. But thanks so much. So, but why is it interwoven? Because with this last president I met in 2010, as I said, he showed me pictures, and there goes the flickering again. Maybe I should do this again. The trick of Barry. No, but I let go. So that in 2010, that this last USA president also impacted me so strongly because I grew up with him maybe from when he was a young man, and he and I were often involved when I was off planet. So with my black ops and several times to Mars, but also to other civilizations and the moon and so on. So this USA president, as far as I know, is the one who has gotten the most insight in how it really was with connection to aliens and the colonizations outside of the Earth. So he was specifically connected to me, and it is interesting that he was the last one I saw. But he threatened me and he showed me pictures of my children, and he told me, of course, well, no one will believe you. That was always the case. Like, continuously I was told, no one will believe you. I had also different and several inner personality systems in me who were trained to stay in disbelief. You have dissociation. Dissociation is, of course, what my programming did in all these split up personalities. But that disbelief, I had a forget-me-not system. Like this, almost wanted to say his name, oh my gosh. This last USA president in 2010, he knew a lot of the programming codes which was put in by one of my basic four programmers like Dr. Green. You all know who I mean. And that rhymes as well. And that he was very informed about my codes. So I had to deal with this last president I met a lot in dealing with the disbelief systems, because one of my biggest disbelief systems was the forget-me-not system. Forget-me-not is that tiny little wildflower, one of my favorite flowers, by the way, And this Dr. Green, I don't think I ever told you that, but I can still describe his room. And when I entered the room of Dr. Green, it was always that I walked inside and that it was a bit an old-fashioned room of which you had two doors which were then sliding. And you see them a lot in the old Amsterdam apartments and in old houses here in the Netherlands. So that long, lengthy room was divided in two, and then at the back was his room, which he then often closed with the slide doors, and there were then his closets with glass vitrine closets, and he had there skulls and a lot of things put there, which were, his favorite things, like also World War II items. Interesting that I now hear. Oh, that's interesting. A very low vibration goes through the right side of my body. Yeah, I'm very alert because I have since last couple of weeks more that I feel that I'm being attacked with radiation. So that's why I'm very alerted. Hey, free birds. And I say that now also just open because a lot more people have that. I know that, but it's again unprovable. And there we go again. The meaning of this having been an undetectable, mind-controlled. Now I almost wanted to say the word slave again. I don't know another word for it, a mind-controlled one. That was to let me stay invisible. So that's why I believe there will never be really physical proof of that I will be attacked, because then I have proof that I'm attacked. So then the programmers know, then the people who watch their live streams, then they will for sure know that she's telling the truth. So that's the reason why so many also recovering MKUltras are being attacked with radiation. And I know it exists. It's not a conspiracy theory. And it's, by the way, no HARP or anything. It is a lot in Europe is coming from Tavistock. And I have seen from a close a lot also Montauk. Montauk is in the USA, but also in Russia. And it is not HARP. HARP is a collection name of what I know. There are certain types of energy weapons, and it is already used for so long. So they target us, and because it's invisible. And I know from other recovering victims who I met that they were targeted with certain guns in planes. That's why I'm always alerted when I hear a helicopter above my head, that I can see with my clairvoyancy. I can sometimes see that that looks like a gun, but it is more radiation. And I don't know what radiation, because I'm not a scientist. So I only talk about what I've experienced, and I'm not a scientist. I was in the programming specifically a doer. I did what I was ordered in the programming, and without my consent. I have to say that again. And often, of course, with total being programmed and thinking I did the right thing. That's another thing. But so then that's also why people don't believe me, because there is no actual proof. But this dear friend of mine here did hear that helicopter, and it happened also in earlier years when I started the deprogramming. Specifically between 2011, 2014, 2015, that regularly there were heavy helicopters above, and then they were turning circles. And why did that recent happen with connected to this president who was here in the Netherlands? That is because a couple of circling around the house was a programming in me, so that the helicopter would, for example, turn clockwise or counterclockwise, and again the holy number 7, so 7 times above the house. That is inducing a kind of a trance. They hope that I would fall into a trance, and then combined with radiation, often and they hoped actually that I would withdraw from live streaming, and that was also what I felt today, and specifically because I want to go live again at 11:30. I did manage that I can go live at 11:30 tonight, so for the people who were not in the beginning of this live stream, you're very welcome to join. It will be in English, so be prepared. But you're welcome to join then. So if I'm not fallen asleep, that can happen as well. Delvertje, I noticed being beamed too. My heart had irregularities for a while, and it does exist, and it is invisible, and that is what they try, and specifically what I said already with me being a former mind control and having so many non-belief coming towards me. And even dear friends of mine who I said goodbye to, they did say to me, well, we do feel somehow, it's very hard to explain. In the beginning, when I still had friends, then I still met them, but I stopped more and more to talk about the details. I still recall that I visited what were for me friends, and then I was sitting on the couch, and I was in that beginning time of that I started to remember, and I had first flashes of that I was horrifically being tortured in the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany, and that I witnessed a hanging. And I was, that was also my longing to, in the hope that when I would talk about such horrific details, like seeing a hanging, that would suddenly enter the person I would consider as a friend, as two dear friends. And after that, they disappeared. And that happened a couple more times. But in the beginning, I was so longing for talking about the details, and that is what is more and more starting to surface in me. Like, I want to stay integer with my graphic details, but I should be capable of telling these horrific things, and then without getting back, hey, it's too much, Monique. Is that weird to feel like that? Like, it should be capable of being told. I hope you understand what I try to say. And I was very inspired with a couple of weeks ago, my dear guest Dana Durnford, and I will approach him soon for another meeting with him in a live stream. But it's always nice to have a bit of a few weeks in between. And that will come, that contact again, but that he inspired me, and that I talked with him offline, outside the live talk shows. And it is so great because he knows MKUltra exists. And it is such a relief to talk to people who have experienced from a close. He is being attacked so extremely on several ways. And I met in my MKUltra life when I was having friends who try to deprogram as well. So can you imagine, I was trying to deprogramming, the ones who were deprogramming were my friends, and then still there were personalities in me who tried to interfere and to take over my wanting to be free. But I know from them as well that they craved for, that they found it so great that we could talk about it to each other. And that the most harsh subjects like hangings, etc. And I say that now very quick, but I thought, well, it is maybe time that I at times say these horrific details which I witnessed. And I did not witness, for example, a hanging only one time. No, I did watch that several times, and several is not enough. I think I watched it 1,000 times, and I don't exaggerate. That's really the truth. So maybe it's good that it feels a relief. I will put off the notification. All right. Thanks for the ones who message me. Yeah, it's great. I will look at it later, but I put off the notification pling. You hear otherwise pling. That's not nice either. And I am then distracted as well. So I should have put it off. And yeah, so maybe it is. I hope I will not be too graphic. And as always, I ask also for you who watch this, please let me know if I'm too graphic, And I rather like to know that. Expressing is power. Expressing is power. If someone is so aware of that, then it's me. Expressing is power. Expressing without judgment, and that's what I try to live on daily basis. I always did, even in the front life, and I think that's also part of why I stayed positive and I could still retrieve many emotions like laughing and having fun with music and with choirs and so on. And well, that's another subject. But what was I saying? So to come back to the being not believed, that is in when I started to remember more and more. That's where I wanted to come back to. That I hoped by finally I have memories. Finally I have now some details what I can tell you. And for example, this hanging took also place in the presence of this granddad I talked about in earlier live streams, who tortured me horrifically, and that cruel he was, and that is what makes part of that I'm not being believed, because how can a cute granddad who was in the front life, he had everyone on his lap, everyone was loving him, he was whistling all the time, he was, for example, when he was later on in a home for the elderly, he was the hit, he was the party guy, and he squeezed the nurses. That's how they called it at that time. The nurses in their cheeks, or in their how you say that? He squeezed them when they came by in a certain spot, and everyone was charmed about it. Yeah, and I was always distant from him. I even recalled that on certain parties. For example, when he became 80, there was a giant, big party. Everyone was so incredible happy to celebrate his 80th birthday. And I could not be happy, and I was just diving underneath a table. I still recall that I was crawling underneath a dinner table when everyone was partying. So and that feels sometimes as if I was in a movie. Like I still remember when I was sitting underneath that table. Like, why does no one see from the other family members like that I'm not doing well? And later on, when I started to recall and integrate, that I started to realize, like, they must have been in a kind of bubble of. I know many families have that there is a person of which you see, or a girl, or especially a tiny child, which is always withdrawn with someone. And that could be an alarm sign. It could be, I'm not saying it is. It could be one of the alarm signs. Another alarm sign is always being afraid of that same person, try to hide, has problems on school, is being ridiculized in school. And another alarm sign can be that a girl or a boy can have bladder infections, so trouble with peeing and so on. And I had already an immense trauma of that the Dutch front mom had to grab me from school if I even was there, because I wet my pants. Well, at school, can you imagine how? Yeah, it was horrific. And maybe it's good that I don't remember everything, how the children responded. And I was still very little. I was 4, 5, 6 years old when that happened still. So these could be signs. And And by the way, every former who was traumatized, and not even as heavy as I was, but you could see it in the eyes, in the look. So, it could be alarm signs. It's not to warn, it's not to create fear, but I know it happens a lot more that families have a certain person and then you see a relationship in between, a grown up and a very little someone, and that is just not feeling right. I know it happens a lot more. And so that's part of that. That also created in me, in my front life personalities, children parts who were, for example, running in the wildflower fields. I'm still crazy of lying in a wildflower fields and then just lying flat and then watch the clouds. That I do enjoy that, and even more than ever, especially since 2023, when my core is freed and I can say truly that I love myself and the world and other people, and from much broader than ever, and I grow every day in it. But that I also escaped in this way, avoid other people and other friends. So I avoided classroom mates, even more and more, because I was more and more afraid I will not being believed. So I fled into creating personalities of which I could run with in a field. And you see sometimes in movies that certain children create a fake a personality. Well, I did that too. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I know I was never crazy because I knew I created it, all right? So to avoid being not by you all, but I'm sometimes so scared when I express things so bluntly or so openly, so spontaneous, that I'm being that I get it back, not from you, but from certain disturbances. And I created, a fake friend, and that's sad when that happens, and I did know I faked it, so let that be clear again. So I was running through the maize fields, and I was sitting there, and I created when I was which is at the seaside in the Netherlands, Zeeland, when I was there in a certain place where we also had a fixed caravan where we went with the front family every weekend, almost every weekend. And then I was close to nature, and then I was relaxed in nature, and then I created a house, and I took my blankets, and then I created with all kinds of sticks and trees. I created my own home, and then I was there with an imaginable friend. But I know creating imaginable friends is, I think many children do that. So I know it's not crazy, but Delvertje, we won't call for the white coats. Well, even if they would come, I think my military part would jump up, because I know that happens, I think. I have to grab my tea, because I was today pretty doing well and okay, but hours went by in the afternoon, and I could not eat because I got more and more in resistance of doing the live stream, because talking about non-belief, that's still very hard for me, because I still bump into it, and it's not that people then say to me, hey, we don't believe you, because because I'm still physically alone here, if you know what I mean. So that, but that's the perks of being a former mind control MKUltra. What would have happened? I sometimes have to think about it. What would happen if I would never have come forward as MKUltra? What life would I then have? I sometimes think about that when I would not have chosen to go live streaming and do my story, which started at TVOP, I believe. Yeah, that was, I think, the first interviews. Then it started. So, I bumped into a live stream, and I accidentally entered that live stream. That was, sometimes things happen, by the way, which I do believe is destiny. I start to believe in destiny as well. I'm very curious of how you feel with that word, destiny. I was a lot of times scared of the word destiny because destiny was also programming in me, of course. What was not a programming in me? Sunbeam's thing. Question: radiological laboratories often were used. I could find in old MKUltra data. Was it also done in those to your areas? Or was it also just other locations? Don't need like details, and if this is a too hard question, I understand. It's a great question, Sunbeam's thing. Radiological laboratories often were used, I could find in old MK. Well, yeah, but Tavistock has one, Russia had one, all these underground bases where there were these radiological laboratories. I tried to be more fluent in English. Maybe you noticed that. I tried to be more just go with the flow. So I hope that's a bit the answer. And Montauk was also, yeah, I was heavily used there too. And it's being told as that there only boys were there. It was, by the way, also a trafficking center. I saw there the most horrific things with boys. And I was there as a girl as well because I could jump through portals. Easy, very easy. Barry, Monique has something on a radio photo paper or something. Has something on a radio photo paper. What do you mean, Barry? Well, then maybe in the break we can talk about it, or after the break, because I do like to talk also about my off-planet experiences and the artifacts I came across. Because I start to realize as well, I should just keep on talking about it and it will get to more memories. I truly believe that. Yeah, I have that, Barry. Yeah, I have. Yeah, good. Yeah, I have a drawing of that. I got from the nurses when I was in the hospital. I got from the radiology department. I got yellow paper. Yeah, that was photo paper, and I have drawings on it. I sketched on it. Yeah. Ah, yes. Yeah. And I still remember when it was given to me. So that memory is pretty whole. It's very complete. Yeah. And I still have it. I have some drawings from when I was a child as well. I did show them. Maybe that was not always clear. When I show pictures on my Facebook timeline specifically, and on my Instagram, I also post a lot of pictures and drawings, etc. But a lot of them are original drawings, by the way, from when I was teenager, and this one was from when I was very little. Yeah, yeah. Maybe and it I sketched on it the two timelines I was in, so I was already at a very young age time traveling, and I love that subject too. It does exist. That's why there are too many dimensions, by the way. The Creator and God is working hard to deal with all these dimensions, the shifts of dimensions. But yeah, interesting subject. Yes, that's because most people can't imagine that it's possible, Monique. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, that's I like to come back to that what I talked about to these friends. I told my details, and that imagination of that it's not being possible. I think that television also contributed that, and movies. While everything has a positive and a negative side, I truly think believe that, for example, what is being shown on television, like what journalists shows, like wars. When you see war crimes and there's a lot of things being shown on television of the gruesome things happening abroad. And maybe it is that people that cannot imagine, that's true, Jos, that it happens nearby, or even that it is a beloved coach, or a beloved friend, or beloved family member. That is possible, but I feel that it's related to that everyone should be so occupied with being busy with the confusion, with all kinds of subjects, with turbulence in the world, with wars, with creating new laws, etc., and keep people busy on a certain physical, mental level, because I truly feel that more and more people are also closed off of feeling. Because if I would sit in opposite of a friend, and I told her, and I talk about the friends who were past 2007-8 still a bit in contact with me, and when I met them in person, then I was sitting opposite of them, and when I talk to them, and they are all feelers, they are loving people, and I will love them forever because they were dear friends of mine, and I at times also just cut the ties with them because I changed too much. But that I was sitting in opposite of them, and then I told them, for example, what I experienced. Only a few details. I learned my lesson in not to be too graphic. And then at that moment, that they even started to cry and could feel. And some of them were clairvoyant, or had a very opened heart and feeling, and that they immediately responded in even crying, tears in their eyes. But that's what a lot happens, that then after that they let it in, that it then immediately closes with inner resistances and inner personality parts who feel like, oh, that cannot happen. So it is a mental part, which is my opinion and what I experienced, of that it's being closed off from feeling. And that is why I feel also the atmosphere is being targeted and being closed off, and the firmament is being kept away from us. The truth that the firmament is far closer to us than what is being told, and that's part of keeping distant, keeping the distance. But that's my own opinion. So that we should feel again, and both brain parts. I talked about it, I believe, already in the far live streams far back, that it's so important to connect both brain parts. And what is happening in, for example, the medical world, a lot in the medical world are only being trained by one brain part, which is learning. Of course, you have to learn how to do surgery in a correct way, that you have to know with your brains, like, oh, I should leave that organ really alone before I cut through a vein. That is very important, but where is the feeling? And I know physicians, there are some who feel, and that's why I love the holistic part of the medical world, like holistic dentist, etc. And because they learned to feel, and I feel there is a key element in it. And that is, again, why I believe the truth of how Earth looks like is being kept away from us, and causing all kinds of turbulence in the world to keep us busy, and not being in contact with feeling any longer. And feeling, that's an interesting, because you have disbelief, feeling. Feeling is being not believed, is what I came across, is that the people were then at that moment withdrawn from feeling. So I think it's an important ingredient. Let us all feel again. I say just, it is not just, but look at me, I'm 20 plus years deprogramming to learn to feel again. So, and I still have my 80 plus percentage of the military. I have to dig up. I see someone on Rumble. Or is that... that's Barry. I see it only very small. I have myself, my own video screen, webcam, only very tiny. So Yeah, dear people on Rumble, you're welcome to chat. Thanks for commenting there, Barry. No, thank you so much for also being there. Multi channel. Yes, most people do not notice that they have been manipulated. And that's true too. That's true. Yeah. But that's interesting because I feel that is part of my mission to create something which, well, I had visions of that, but it's because I really want to live in the here and now, but I have an incredible strong mission and passion for creating that feeling enters of that this is truly happening, like that there are also aliens, there are reptilians, there are other dimensions, there are several several levels of hell atmospheres. I did not touch upon that as well, but it is there are certain dimensions also of hell, and hell does exist. It does exist, and demons exist, and that is part of that what you talked about, Jos, and also other people, that it's being manipulated, that humanity specifically are being cut off from feeling. And that's the reason why the programmers also used me for getting the God codes out. How to deal with, can we grab the whole soul? Well, they never will. They will never be capable of doing that. I'm sure. But yeah, I talked about it a lot of times. The negative world is not aware of that for some reason, that they never can really grab the codes of how humanity is, how the soul is how the soul is. Yeah. Delvertje, people are afraid to be hurt by the harsh truth. Ah, that's a truth too, Delvertje. That is indeed true. And a lot of hurt in generations previous. Like the family, the front family I was in. That's why I can, even my granddad, I was angry at times. I had a healthy angriness which I could release with my dear friend here, and I just grabbed pillows and I sketched the face of this granddad, and I started with my fists to. That's how I dealt with my anger, by the way, and that's great because then it doesn't release in different ways, with the inner programming still what I was dealing with. That's also maybe a handy tip for everyone who is deprogramming or has anger in her system and feels like I'm afraid to release this anger or go in a box lessons. How you call that? How is that called? That thing which you box. Well, so I did a lot of boxing and hitting pillows with the face of that granddad. But that's the only face I ever sketched which I bumped because he was really evil. But I still cannot be really angry in like wanting to have revenge or something. That's not in me. That is truly not in me. Punching bag. Yeah, exactly, Barry. A punching bag. Yeah. I have to drink some tea and it's, I saw my face a bit, I put so much ginger in it. A bit too much. It's a bit too strong. But yeah, maybe ginger will keep me awake because I feel a resistance to go live at 11:30. For again, the ones who are new here, I plan on going live again after a break. at 11:30 this evening. Some thing. Question: does also sometimes certain special moves, physical move like karate, can be triggered by MKUltra? Wow, when I was typing this, you start talking about boxing. Wow. Does also sometimes certain special moves, physical moves like karate, can be triggered by MK? Yeah, it can. Yeah, I talked about that I was attacked. Even normal circumstances, like I was being attacked in the Derde Oosterparkstraat in Amsterdam, and it was my own fault. I was waiting too long for putting my money and my wallet back in my bag, and then there was a kind of a motorcycle who tried with two people on it, and they tried to grab my wallet, and I pulled back, and they could not escape with it. So somehow I had the power to, and they were with the two of them, to withhold them from driving away. That's one thing. But yeah, and by the way, in the deprogramming, when I started to realize, when I had my flashes with the military black ops, and one of the first was in Korea. I always want to say Vietnam, but yeah, maybe it was to confuse me in the programming, but I was truly in Korea. Now I'm talking about sea, when I was in the helicopter, sea below the swamps and etc. And I had to search for artifacts. There in Korea, where Vietnam was situated and where the war was, that was part of why the war also was being put off. Because there are artifacts being dug into, and many underneath the swamps, and there's so many cave systems, unbelievable lot of cave systems, but a lot in Korea, a lot of artifacts were being found, and UFO remains. And I still can even recall how I was there with the black op, and I was very young. I know no one believes me. You believe me, but I was very little. And I was with my team, and I had with my clairvoyancy to look up that certain man of the military, and I had to, with my psychic abilities, had to find him, his body, and he was lying with the face downwards in a swamp. And I still can draw the same sketch of how I saw him. So I detected him, and my programmers, my commanders, wanted him to retrieve for certain reasons, even if he did not live any longer. That's also what I had to acknowledge. So I was used for that as well. But now I wandered off from the subject again. That is me talking spontaneously. I apologize if sometimes my thread of thoughts are being twisted and turned. That happens because I do this spontaneously. So, hello, pitching. Oops, hiccups. Pachinko ghost hour. Is ghost hour? I don't get that. What is ghost hour? I don't get it. Ghost hour. You like to talk about ghost pachinko, or is it because I am going live at 10:30 again? 11:30. I say all the time 10:30. Oh, I'm not sure if I will go live, by the way. But I thought if I say it and repeat it enough, then I have to go live, But if someone likes to join later on, but it is late, of course. Maybe you have your jobs, and the next day, early rise and shine. Pachinko, 11:30. Ah, then I understood well enough. Okay. Well, let's for sure take a break. At 9 I will continue, so only 7-8 minutes, because I notice when I take a break which is too long, then I somehow then my attention curve drops. That's very interesting. And then I will continue, and I will bridge more yeah, also about the artifacts and off-planet. And by the way, when I go live at 11:30, then I will introduce myself because I think also a lot of new viewers will be there. So, but it could be interesting. I will then introduce myself again and will follow the flow of, explaining MKUltra and who I am, so that you know. And maybe we get into also nice subjects and maybe also lightheartedness. Let's see. Let's see how it will develop. And so we will I almost wanted to say we will grab a break. No, we will take a break. And I will get the streamer. I'm not sure if I will play some music. I get so many copyright things. But it's of course very silent without music. Oh no, where is that break thing? And you know that when I find the break streamer, then the break is done. Okay, short break English. I have it here. Yeah, hooray, hooray, hooray. Short break English. Okay. All right. Well, I will play a song which I did, an older one. Wait. And then I will look also on Indevini and Tivop for... Yeah, if there are people in the chat, welcome, of course. First of all, again. I will do this one. Okay. Sunbeam Sting, so you will be later live on this platform also? Yeah. Yes. Yes, Sunbeam Sting, I hope you can hear me well still. Yeah. And I have my English page, but my English page is not always going live. So that's the problem. So I think I will have to leave it for now, Dutch-English mix. And maybe it's destiny. I don't know. Some mistake. Yeah, again, the dropjes. The licorice. Licorice is the English word for that. I love the word licorice. I love these long licorice sticks which are reddish. I love them. But there is, and I have the organic ones. There's a lovely brand, the organic ones. It has a little black bear on it, and it's a white and black color on the bag. But I love that licorice. It's my favorite. Panda, I think. Panda. What did I want to do? I forgot. Oh yeah, Indevini and Tivop. Oh gosh. So at 9 I will continue the talk, and I will see how long I will continue. Because I now already feel the tiredness, so I'm oh man. And my dear friend here says that I'm in resistance because it's a new challenge to go live later on. So let's see. Okay, Tivop. Hey, Tineke Jessie! I saw you already earlier in the chat. Welcome. Delvertje, yeah, the drop again, yeah. And I still want to spell it out again, but I can speak out drop, 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 drop. I can speak out licorice, licorice. Wait. Okay, one is viewing. That's me. And it's echoing. But yeah, it's English spoken, I understand. Not for everyone. Now I'm in the Winnie. I saw. Oh, love this. But that is a comment you can make. So, okay. Two are watching. Me and someone else. So two. Oh. All right. Well, it's almost 9, so I will pour myself my tea and I will try to figure out if am I too dark for you who are watching, or is it still okay, the lighting? Because I see I'm in the dark here inside. I don't know why the camera drops all the time. So, I felt like I was sitting down below, you know. It felt so weird. So now it's better. Oh, meine Güte. I will check if the carnival is now better. I divided the lighting at the background. Oh. Is it too light? Is it too bright? Is this better or should I put it out? I see it in the comments. Cozy Christmas. Well, that's Christmas time. Out is better, Yvonne? Yeah? More? Who find it better to put it out? Yeah, I love the light, you know that. But maybe later on it is better. So this is out. This is better? I see so reddish. My face is so reddish. Oh man. Well, I leave it out for now. Sunbeam Sting. It's interesting that Monique's light always flickers for a bit when it is about sunset. So when the light changes, yeah. But if I understood Barry well enough, then it's about some white stuff which my camera is seeing as reflecting it as light. That's what I understood. If I hope I explained it well enough, Barry. Bit too much, huh? Yeah. All right. Doesn't matter. This is okay. Well, let's see how that will go later on. If I go live later on. Okay, so to continue, and I still have to pour my tea. Oh man. I have to finish this. Yeah, I was saying I still will continue a bit with the non-belief, because about that non-belief system in me, and that I mentioned this Dr. Green, and he was then, and I know that for sure of more MKUltras, that in me was the forget me not programming, and that he then had that flower, that forget-me-not flower, wildflower, in his hands, and that he then pulled out the petals, and that he said, forget me not, forget me not, and I will never forget that. Yeah, there's the word forget in it. I realized that. Forgetting. Is an interesting word, forget. En vergeet me nietje. En it's called in Dutch. En dat in de Dutch live, in de Dutch programming was het ook vergeet me niet. And that he pronounced it in weird Dutch. So this, I have really focused on that. I will not mention his name, but this Dr. Green, who was my basic programmer, could speak also some Dutch, and it was with an accent, emphasis on his German origin. And I will never forget that, his voice, how he mentioned that. And then with the horrific traumas, and a lot of times with the petals he then pulled out of the flower, that it had to be repeated. So then I had to witness certain torture. Well, I will not grab into the details. No, I wanted to test auto-white balance, but that is not it. We know since the hand in front of lens. Ah, yeah, now I remember. I get it now, Barry. Thanks. Thanks for explaining. Delvertje, you could try to put the lights behind the curtain. Then it is not too bright. Yeah. Well, I will put the lights at the background higher up. But that's a good idea, yeah. And these ones are brighter, and I had other ones which were lighter. So, Delvertje, my cat is saying hello. Ah, how sweet. Well, hello back. Say hello back. I still have my Kapamon, the cat here, the animation cat. But yeah. So that was still the part what I wanted to add with the non-belief system. And the non-belief system was pretty big in me. And it was connected with every MKUltra, every Monarch programming, by the way, has also sabotage personalities. This was when I was starting to recall all my deeper embedded programming, that I mentioned a lot to my dear friend here, like, how can I then know that what I retrieve of memories is the real memory? And she always had to give back to me, like, Monique, if you talk about your experience, and of course a lot of times it was right after a flashback that I gave her an update on what I came across, and she could feel the atmosphere, and she can feel incredibly. So she just feels if I'm telling the truth or not. And she always can feel, by the way, still can feel if there is something which is not feeling here and now in me, then she still mentions that. And that's so nice about expressing. So expressing what you feel to each other, like expressing what is going on, expressing how I feel, expressing how she feels. And I learned that as well in living with her. And this, I will be always grateful for that, because it's part of living together. That I believe it's one of the basic fundamentals to live together, is to express when something is not feeling right or something is feeling right. That is the great thing about communicating. Delvertje, is it that type of cat? Or is it literally a cat you have? You have your cat as well. Well, so with these sabotage personalities, they started to come forward even in later years when I started to deprogram. And they have the majority of the non-belief, even the non-belief in myself. So when I had a flashback, for example, and the flashbacks are relivings. When I was in relivings, I talked about that a lot of times, that I literally had to crawl over the carpet here and go even to other rooms or crawl upstairs to deal with it, to have the idea of I will come out of that relivings. But then after that, the majority of times, I got another personality who was connected to jump up and to say, it's not true, or it's not true. It's not true what Monique is recovering. So the non-belief system in myself, I had to deal with as well, and it was a journey. It's like a whole maze, and that's why it took so many years before I was healed enough to finally. I think I really was prepared to be capable of doing live streams because it was so confusing for me as well at times. Then someday I could feel totally, oh man, I was in relivings and I could feel the energy of, for example, the extreme heavy traumas with the satanic rituals. And then the next day I was in a certain flatness and I could not feel that it was true. And then this dear friend immediately told me, like, Monique, now sit separate in that part or do your job and go riding with that part in you. And then I got myself out of it. So you can notice it by a kind of roboting thing or a normal reaction. Yeah. Yes, I see people even on the internet of people who are from the elite or other of organizations. Then maybe you can see that as well, that sometimes that there is a kind of robotical movement or attitude. And then I see the eyes and I can mostly tell in the eyes. The eyes are the mirrors of the soul, what is being told. So, and I like that expression. Eyes are the mirror of the soul. And there are many examples findable on YouTube about very good examples of that you see, for example, in a talk show. You see literally the guy, he was sitting with 3 people or 4. There were pretty a lot of talk show hosts, and then he was suddenly staring. And that took a long time before he was unfrozen. So that's a frozen alter, a frozen personality, like I had myself as well. Well, the disadvantage of that it's dark in here, maybe you don't see it. Yeah, you see it as, if I watch on Twitch, then I see a bit everything is dark, but not too dark, I hope. But that it makes me sleepy, so maybe I hit upon a certain layer again with the MKUltra, the military layer. Oh, meine Güte. So maybe the resistance is already here in me of, Monique, you're not going live later on at 11:30. Jos, can you see it in blind people? Oh, good question. Well, I have, of course, more things I can see. Hey, that's not right, but I feel a lot with people, and I recognize a lot in behavior as well. So, what a good question, Jos, that you came up with that question. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, I can feel it then. I think then my other senses are then carefully checking the other warnings or the energy, and of course the aura. You can see a lot in the aura. So, yeah. Well, now I'm dealing with nice in the live stream. It's only past 9, a 9:15, and I'm now getting sleepy. So, well, that's great. Oh, maybe I will make that bridge towards the artifacts and off-planet, And oh, it was so great that I talked with you about more and more, that I dared to talk about my experiences off planet and about the firmament and so on. And I realized, maybe I said it as well Saturday evening, like there are many people, maybe also remote viewers, who talk about their journeys from Earth to other colonizations and so on. But I don't recall that I ever heard someone really talk about how the journey on its own went and how that colonization really looked like on the planet. And it motivated me incredibly last Saturday to be more open about and more spontaneous about what I know, what I remember from my own experiences, to talk about it. And the artifacts, one of the artifacts I was in was like I talked earlier about the brain, and how the brain is a miracle. And that the brain, when I was in these black ops, specifically off planet as well, that I used my psychic abilities. And when I was with my Delta team, that I was then connected to a field. And my Delta team was the most of the time with 4, sometimes max 5. That could change. But then when I was with the Delta team, that there was you could see that really also with a physical eye. Yeah? You could have seen it, that a certain beam-like ribbon was connected to us all, and I was then the leader, the commander, and that when I had to the programmers, well, often I had to do these black ops because they themselves, for example, could not understand or get entrance to an artifact. Suppose there are a lot of pyramid shapes around, on several planets and on several colonizations. And I also saw pyramid shapes also underneath surfaces on other planets and colonizations. So the pyramid shape is a shape I saw a lot. But for example, also a shape like, these termite builds of them. Yeah, they're magnificent termites. I find intriguing insects. Termites. We don't have them here, I think, not in the Netherlands, but sometimes insects cross over from other countries. Interesting that I recently learned of a certain bee, which is now, or wasp, which is now in the Netherlands, which is even threatening the bees, the Dutch bees here, and kill whole bee colonizations. That's another subject, but and like these termite hills. And often I saw, when I had to being overactive with my third eye, that my third eye could feel literally like increased, and that it was like a giant tube which came out of my forehead, which was not literally, of course, there was not coming a tube out of from within to the outside on my forehead, but I could feel it grow, my third eye, and it was circulating, growing and growing, and that I saw my own brains light up, and often I saw like mini lightnings. It lights up in my brain, so I could look inside of me in my brains. That's very handy, of course, to check. Sometimes I do check my brains if everything is all right, or my own organs, etc. And it's very handy. And everyone has that capacity, by the way. Everyone can open up that capacity. But then we should all be lifted up in the energy and so on. So I hope that will happen. When I was in the weirdest artifacts, I had to look inside, because again, the programmers were not capable of finding an entrance to an artifact. A lot of things happen like that. Like if they, for example, discovered artifacts, then a lot of times there are no doors in it, or no visible openings. But then they know that there is something inside, and they wanted me to check out with my team to see with the AI increased suit and with my team to together, and that I would then could be able to look inside, but even to walk inside. I think that's maybe not clear all the time, but I could then walk inside that artifact if it was, of course, big enough. And then the most weird inside of that artifact was like a literal copy of a human brain. And that was not the size of the brain in our heads, but it was a giant brain. And it was very bizarre, even for me, while I already witnessed so many weird objects and the most weird objects, things I've witnessed. So with the giant brain artifact, inside of the artifact, that was... I wish I could explain it, how magical it was at the same time. And it was, it had also all kinds of colors, which I cannot even describe. It is more the colors you can see when you can view with clairvoyancy, for example, how heavens or other dimensions look like. But it's a kind of a brightness and a deeper color. So it's and deeper, but also lighter. I cannot explain it otherwise than that. And there was not one artifact like that with that brain-shaped giant brain shape. No, there were other artifacts who had that in its own, and it communicated with each other. So it was like, how do you say that? They communicated with each other, and that is why the programmers wanted me to find out what actually that brain was doing. By the way, now I'm talking about these ops. Now again, it happens what happened also Saturday, that I get a sleep wave. So it is, I hit upon, I think, borders of what I'm allowed to tell. But Tineke Jessie, do we all have a third eye? Yes. Definitely. It's there. And the pineal gland and these two glands in the head are such important. And if they radiate fully, then it is amazing. For example, the eyes, there should be no eye problems. And I myself am often confused because I have bad eyesight. I have really bad eyesight. It's almost -12, -13. That's pretty bad eyesight. But I know it's also being ruined by some medicine I was forced to take in the front life for my urine bladder infections. And that, the Dutch mom actually did put away the leaf which was added to it, to this medicine that was said on that leaflet, like danger for eyes if used too often. So they kept that away from me, that it would be damaged. But then still, I am still sometimes wondering, like, why did my eyesight not heal? Because I remember that I was also put on bad meds. But maybe the programmers thought in the front life she's looking with bad eyesight, so we cannot heal that because then it will be too obvious to the outside world. Maybe it's that, but I still have to find out why that is, because I'm myself, you know that, who watch my live streams for a long time now, that everything what can be a proof is for me, I love that too. I want to experience like, living that proof and truth. So, I'm still wondering why my eyesight, I always hoped, by the way, in the deprogramming, that when I would be integrated, that then my eyesight would heal. But did not happen. But there are a lot of people who have far, far worse things. So, and I deal with it already from little on, from child on. So it's not a big problem, but I always wondered why did this not heal then? So I have my own non-believer as well, still, who is very alert to everything what is responding in me, and yeah, it's also insecurity, of course. Yes, a blind people talk or with a soft tone or with that robot tone. Blind people are very soft and sensitive people. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, everyone who misses a sense then have to increase the other senses. But yeah, they're very vulnerable people. A lot of these, yeah. Delvertje question, what plants grow on other planets? What planets have water and plants, etc.? Delvertje, good question. Well, I was on a water planet, of which I believe the fairy tale story origins of, with mermaids. There were mermaids. There is a planet with mermaids. And what type of plants? Well, Earth is pretty unique in the plants. So, oh man, it's hard to answer because a lot of colonizations on the planets live inside the planet. So a lot of these planets have no or a total different atmosphere. Like I mentioned, the crystal planet, and on that crystal-like planet, I did not see any plant-like. And what is a plant? For us, we know how a plant looks like, but maybe a tiny crystal, for example, on that crystal colonization I was, maybe they see a tiny crystal as well as a plant for them. So, but there are so many shapes. And in the inner earth, I came across the most beautiful and biggest plants ever and flowers. That was for me the most amazing place. And the heavens have also beautiful plants and flowers, the most which resembles to what we have here on earth. But there are, for example, what is kept out of sight, but I know on Mars that close to rocks, etc., and in remains of craters, that I came across very strong thorn-like bushes, very, very harsh, very, very like thorns. So an atmosphere often cannot have the plants which we have. And of course, in the colonizations, like on Mars, there is then being pulled some seeds from here to try to grow there. But what I've seen there, plants growing, is all in an atmosphere which resembled Earth. So it has a lot to do with oxygen level, with water level. There are other oxygen, and I'm not a scientist. I wish I knew all these terms. Oh man, it is here so dark. I will try. Wait, I will try again, and then put the lights a bit further away. Because for me it's too dark. I get sleepy. So I will move away the lights a bit. So one moment, please. I will take care of the carnival lights in the background. I'll be back. One moment. Well, it's a nice short break. Barry, just my 2 cents. 2 cents. If you stop soon, you can do a 90 minutes power nap, then refreshed, try the next time spot. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, I was thinking of quitting max 10 o'clock. So I forgot to say that. But it's a good thing, yeah. But I know the reaction in my head is that I feel the resistance in me. And it's always with the eyes, always. And I see also, I look tired, so, but maybe it's the lighting. So before I answer your question, Sunbeam Sting, I will now arrange the lightings. Okay, I will interesting things and questions in the chat. I'll be back. Okay, so if I do this. Sure. Oops. I'm making it worse, huh? Oh, what did I start? Man. Wait. How's this? This is okay, I think. This is better, huh? Yeah, thanks, Barry. I'm so sorry for that. Maybe the I will do the other setting next time, so that I will turn myself 180 degrees, and then I have the wall again behind me. That's maybe better. But I love the depth in the background. So, but I love to hear your feedback. If I'm sitting the other way around. If the wall is closer to me, then I can apparently better arrange the lighting. I need a professional light. Oh. So I will go now to your questions. Sunbeam Sting, thanks for the question. Are there also areas you can't go to because you have to be in a certain vibration? And also, if you're almost in the vibration of that area, is it also sometimes the case you can see everything but not touch it, like kind of the ghost? Areas, realms. Yeah, the vibration, yeah. It is actually what you say. That's in my experience very accurate. I was trained in Russia to to change my cells, and that sounds maybe weird, but to change my cells, and then that I was, for example, that I had to learn to change and then be inside, matter, earth matter. Maybe that is what you mean. And you need a certain vibration, yeah. And for example, if I would have been ill in the front life, for example, then I would not have managed to take part of, for example, Black Ops, which was prepared for a certain for a certain vibration. But that's again the practical thing about having been an MKUltra, that a personality can be then suddenly totally healthy and feeling totally bright and totally clear. So there are all kinds of situations in which I experienced it, that sometimes things were called off, but yeah, so there are so many different types of situations I realize now. So, but in your question is, in my opinion, a lot of truth. I see now that, by the way, now I'm very bright. So, man, well, I will leave it. Delft, do the colonizations on Mars, do they use conservatories? Yeah, exactly. And there they have the right atmosphere and specifically the oxygen level, the oxygen and the water level. So I remember that in these conservations that what you actually see in supermarkets now, with the vegetables, that you see these, how you say that? These plumes of freshness. You know that the certain brand has that, and I saw that already when I was younger. That type. Yes, I have known a blind lady for years, and she was the earthiest person I have ever met. She always asked me to paint the picture. I thought it was just a game of her. Ah, yeah. Yeah, well, blind people are very special, and also the deaf people, by the way, also very special. It's fine, so the light. All right, it's fine, the light. Sunbeams thing, interesting. Yeah, thanks for the answer. Yeah, so I still see now suddenly that bright light, but yeah, it's. I truly feel that I feel inner resistance to to go live later on, but I will go live. I did. I now notify it even officially on my timeline, so I will go live at 11:30. But I will quit earlier, so max 10 o'clock. So no more questions, and I will. I'm thirsty. I was doubting. Shall I take some tea or some juice? But yeah, I understand that for example, because I'm talking about these artifacts, and I talked already about disbelief and non-belief. Well, of course, I must have in that 80%, which I still did not have to the surface. I'm sure there are parts in me who want to prevent me from believing it or wanting to talk about it. So, and I have to accept that as well, I guess. Don't say sorry for having no questions, Tineke Jessie. It's already great that you're here. And Delft, all people are special and interesting, so roboticizing people is the dumbest thing to do. Yeah, they're all exactly, yeah. But yeah, it is happening more and more, I believe, as well. By that, yeah, I see it often in the aura, like there is a certain shape, which is that upside down pyramid, but then in the round. I forgot the English word for it. A cone. Hey, I know the word. It's a cone. And often I see now, especially with children of the last generations, let's say, since 2010, 2013, last 10 years, that I see that cone a lot being damaged above their heads. And often of these children are being diagnosed with, I cannot even mention that name, ADHD. Do I pronounce it well? Or that you stay inside. Oh man, what's that word? I'm really disturbed now, innerly by remembering words. Yeah, autism. Exactly, Barry. Thanks. And I see then crooked cone above the heads because it's so important that that cone is well shaped. So I see the cone like even, for example, that that cone is so not only out of balance or even turned around. So can you imagine that that is the more speaking of what I see in auras and energetic field. Like in a normal, healthy, balanced aura, then these cone shapes are very smooth and very steady and open to the outside so that then the energy can flow. But what I see with these damages in the cones, what I see more and more is that even one of the cone is, for example, when you have an ice cone for putting ice in it and a part becomes wet, then it collapses a bit. And that's how I see these cones a lot. And specifically with children who have these autism or ADHD, ADHD, all these terms for which are not really terms, but yeah, that's what I notice. And that's to come back to that robotizing things happening more and more. That's what I meant with that. Tineke Jesse, you read more about autism. Yeah, it's a lot is being related to other things as well, which I will not mention here because it's maybe against the toss. I need some honey in my tea. Oh. And by the way, talking about these colonizations, I then see, for example, that question about plants and flowers, and I find that very interesting, like what we see as plant and flowers, that other colonization don't see it like that. For example, when aliens visit Earth, and they know about Earth, they see Earth and they think like, we will visit there. Like if they don't know or never seen plants or flowers, then they have no idea of what they see and if it is precious or not. And I have seen that with alien species who are benevolent but have no opinion. So they then, for example, it's a very simple example, but it's what I've witnessed myself, that they landed, for example, in a forest, and that they just thought like, okay, we burn a circular round, and that they thought like, okay, we burned the place there. They did not care because they did not understand that it was part of a cycle. I know that at times I keep on feeling like, will someone still believe me? But that, for example, a landing of aliens, that they landed on a spot and that a forest caught fire, and they created a giant fire. Yeah, and so, but it's interesting, how do aliens view and what do they know? Because if they know, oh, that's a plant or a flower, suppose they have intelligence and they know about the planet Earth, for example, and they see, we know with our intelligence. Oh, there's trees. Oh, there's land. Oh, there's landfalls. Oh, there's oceans. But if they were never before in contact literally with it, then they cannot connect to that what it is. So it doesn't come alive within. See, what are crop circles? Alien MSM. Well, crop circles, that's an interesting subject. I did see I was visiting crop circles also in my front life because I was always very interested in them. I lied in some of them as well. Laid down, I must say. I laid down in them. And a lot of them are real. A lot of them are fake. And I saw a lot of these balls of light close to it or in it. But it's funny. What are crop circles? Alien MSM. It is an interesting subject because that aliens can have, I say it laughing, but aliens can create something here on Earth what they are not aware of. And that is interesting of how do they see, how do you see things? It's the view on things. And maybe that is also why the deep state and my former programmed world doesn't want let anyone to know that there is far more species, etc. going on. Yeah. Is known or what? Is known or not? Yeah, but who or what is known or not? What do you mean with that, Barry? Yeah, but who or what? The who, the who. I love to know who you mean. You mean the how they who create these. I have my own opinion about it. Crop circles. There is if you mean that question, I will wait a bit before I answer. Yeah, okay. Crop circles. Who made them? What are they? Well, there is a lot. I've seen them myself. A lot of balls of light, which are beings, residues from beings actually, who are. Oh, how can I explain? You can also call it children of light beings, and these light beings, who I've seen, who make these crop circles, are creatures of light. So they have human shapes, but they are more like a human shape in white light, and that they have a very significant body. So, for example, imagine a very tall white person, totally of white light, and he wears a lab coat, but that lab coat is also totally integrated in the body. That's how I saw these beings, and these beings actually want to have back a lot of the pyramids. That's very shortly said. They want to have the pyramids again being restored to what they were originally, and they want to connect them to what I've seen on other colonizations, also pyramids. So the pyramids have an extremely important role in going back to the origin, and that's what they want. And they try to decipher how they can decode, but especially put the codes on Earth in crop circles, for example, to communicate and try to get the codes. It's actually, I say that laughing, but it's like if you want to find out the code of of safe. Yeah, it sounds weird. And then to find the number lock. That's what they try to do. So they themselves want to remember again. And they need that all the pyramids can reunite again, communicate again, but that is being damaged and out of balance. So, but that's what I've seen and what I've witnessed when I talk to them. So they told me that they lost a lot of their own history and that they are finding out, literally the key code. And I just said it out laughing, but sometimes I like to give an example to make it simple. And so not all beings who are light and extremely benevolent, because they are. They search for communicating with us, but they are, next to benevolent, a bit, you can call it arrogance, a certain arrogance, but I don't mean that negatively. So they are also too proud even to really start to communicate with humanity. But that's with the certain crop circles. They want to communicate, but find that key code to literally unlock all the pyramids, and that they can restore their own history again, so their own memory bank as well. So it is not known what the tag gravity in fields are message meant for. Well, there are also tag gravity, and you see a lot of these beautiful shapes. But in fact, it is their communication and what I said earlier, their search for who they are. But there are also there is, these giant lines in the desert area where you see giant figures when you go high enough, and these are from other giants, like, and even certain reptoids of what I've seen in certain timelines. So that is a different kind of, but that's not in crop fields. And I see now the question also, like, why in crops, Delvertje? I knew that question would be coming. These benevolent light people are connected to crops is too simply said. I can feel it in their communication, what they told me, but I try to translate it into how can I explain that. It's like they find it an ideal. Painters how you say that? Painter, a surface to communicate, a surface to use. Yeah, I feel what they mean, and I cannot describe it. I hate it when it happens. They use grain fields as post-its, notepads, canvas. Oh, thanks. Yeah, Barry. You're a great. Oh man, it's great that I see that, and I suddenly realized, that's it, canvas. And I wish I could explain how. Okay, look, they communicate telepathically. They're benevolent beings, but it is like, I always want to laugh, but I mean that well. It is more because they're so kind, but they are also like, they had some memory loss. So they are extreme emotionally intelligent. They are extreme intelligent in creating this. But at the same time, they suffer from memory loss. Yeah, that's. I hope I could explain it in this way. Delvertje. Alien van Gogh. I like that one. Yeah. Maybe Van Gogh was as well an alien. Yeah. Ka-ching! There it comes again. I love that word, ka-ching. I've seen too many Japanese anime people, and it has a story because I watched one of these Japanese anime people, and she is. I am intrigued. That is a Japanese, beautiful young woman, by the way. But yeah, you have all these filters, so I don't know if it was real. But beautiful makeup, and then it is bizarre to look at, and I'm still intrigued by it. And then she makes short videos, and then the only thing what she does is ka-ching, and then ka-ching, and that's the only thing. And then you see her wobble a bit like ka-ching. Yeah, I cannot even reproduce it, but that's where it comes from. I'm intrigued, so I copied it a bit. Oh man, Barry, I laugh too. It might be a simple. We see nature, they see day tablets in grain fields. Yeah. Yeah, well, we have to look at it with humor as well, but I truly feel that by seeing it also in a lighter way, but that perspective, it changes the way you view at aliens, isn't it? Because I hope so. That's why I decided to talk about it, because it can change a certain view, and then maybe it is the challenge to replace yourself into the brains, if they have brains, of an alien. Do all aliens have brains? I see that question come up in the chat. Oh, I will not look. I'm sure it will come in the chat. Do all aliens have brains? I'm not sure if I can answer that question. So don't ask. Oh gosh. Van Gogh did like fields as well, but more lavender fields of sunflower fields. Yeah, that's true, Delvertje. Yeah, and by the way, Van Gogh, yeah, is a very special painter. I love how he could put the light in it with his strokes and yeah. Aliens with helicopter view. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do aliens have veins like blood? Do aliens have a heart? All these interesting questions, isn't it? Did anyone ever question that? Like, yeah, you see in science fiction movies sometimes that other aliens have green blood or blue blood, etc. Yeah, there are. I saw that come by, but yeah, there are many types of aliens. Delvertje, do aliens love? Love in the way, the physical love, you mean? I say it now very neat. Or do you mean, do they love? Do they have, for example, commitments? Yeah, some have, some don't. And how do they breed? Oh gosh. How do they breed? Oh, many. Which species? Which species? Oh man. If we start that one, how do they breed? Um, I met the insectoids, and the insectoids have large, slimy eggs, like cocoons. A lot of them have cocoon-like way, and that's why they abduct humans as well and put them in cocoons. In cocoons or cocoons. Why did I choose? Why did I choose to do English live streams? Oh, meine Güte. Kokosnoten. Kokosnoten. Where did it come from? Coconut. Where did it come from, Barry? Oh, lizards, eggs. Yeah, as well, and very, often very sticky and slimy. And certain slime, also the reptilians can smell bad, and they have a typical, sometimes slime residue. That's, by the way, also the reason why they cloak their appearance here on Earth if they are in between humans, because many of them can look like humans. That is really true, and I see more and more that the veil is being lifted from how they really look like. So that's great. There are videos in which I truly feel, oh, it really shows there. So cocoons. Let's to kokosnoten in my funny bone. Ah, all right. I get it. I get it. Delphietje, caterpillars and butterflies. Um, Caterpillars and butterflies. Was that about love? And speaking of love, there are colonizations which have more human-like love relationships and even communities. So I was on a colonization, and which had layer upon layer upon layer, like their residences, and then each layer had a family unit, and then and that was done in the way humans also do, interact and have intercourse and have children. But yeah, um, some species have one big heart and one smaller heart. And that smaller heart is more in the front. So where our thymus gland is, there was that smaller heart. Maybe it was one of the experiments once. Always handy, extra heart. Yeah, Delvetje, glad to hear there are normal relations. Yeah, what is normal? Yeah, yeah. And there are very insignificant. The greys are very. A lot of them are very cold, literally also cold to touch, and yeah, there are synthetic also, often or combined with some DNA. But the greys are for me very. We talked about robotic earlier, but the greys, the tiny greys specifically, I met were so. Um, yeah, they were analyzing everything, and that's really tiring. If someone is, maybe you recognize that, but if someone is too much in the head, then I get so tired. And then I want to disturb a bit on a nice, humorous way, but that when I know that people have, when I know that someone, I'm not doing that to strange people, of course, but yeah, there are yeah, normal to us, yeah, and androgen beings as well, but that's already known. And to come back to these crop circles and these beings, they are, I think, an important factor. That's why they keep on communicating. They feel that humanity has also, for them, certain key connections, but they don't remember why, and that is, yeah. And I know it sounds almost like a comical movie, but I will draw soon these beings which I met. These insectoids are also in the medical world very active. So if one of the elite of Earth is, for example, in big trouble, especially with the brains, because the brains is very, of course, very vulnerable, even with the neurosurgeons here on Earth. And if some elite, they will not choose to let it do with to a neurosurgeon here on Earth. They will always invite one of the insectoids. And I had also a couple of experiments or surgeries on my heart with crystal liquid, and that my lungs were also involved. And then these insectoids were steering the surgery. And then, for example, the Earth heart specialist specifically, or neurologist, that he then is telepathically connected to these insectoids, and these insectoids even could take over the Earth like surgeon, like an avatar. So they could take over that surgeon's body from their insectoid own stage or platform, and then they could do the surgery. Yeah, that's very. I did not see a movie about that. Still, maybe someone gets an idea to create a movie about that. Maybe my life is maybe one day a movie. Maybe then several movies, I think. But sometimes I truly feel like it would be a great movie. The insects also remote work from home. Hive. Yeah. Well, insectoids and insects are often very strong, very strong. There are insects which can even survive radioactive stuff. I forgot which one, but was it cockroaches are extremely tough as well. Tough insects. Can survive almost everything. Well, except if you squash them, of course. But yeah, that's don't do that. I love animals. You know that. I even save insects from the house here. So I'm very peace loving, animal loving, kind woman. But I'm just a bit in a light-hearted modus. It's 10:05. Wow. Maybe I am babbling until it's 11:30. And I promise to stop at 10. Now I see that flickering again. Oh man. Maybe in that until if I go live at 11:30, I will turn my desk. But yeah, then I have a white wall behind me. I don't know if I should do that. Yeah. But I'm glad I could do this first live stream, and I'm very curious if I will manage to go live at 11:30. You can put a post out with this live. Good hashtags, all for coming. Yeah. I was thinking about that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I will put. I think it's most handy in a comment, isn't it? Put it in a comment on my platforms. So yeah, TDC time is flying fast again. Indeed. Maybe later on at 11:30 it isn't flying for me. Maybe I am sitting here and then, oh, huh? What did you say? Oh, huh? Oh, chat. So I'm sleeping. Or I put an alarm which says ka-ching, and then I wake up. Oh, that would be the day if I would fall asleep while I'm live streaming. I don't think that will happen, but no, that won't happen. Deviltje. Or make a crop circle to attract alien viewers. I like that one too. I think it will be a very comical. I like that too. You know, I'm very light-hearted usually, but yeah. So I will put in the comments. So this thing. Yeah, we don't want a snoring Monique on a stream. No. With crayons on the crossroad. Hello, Rick the Daddy. I think I will stay online. Dankjewel. Thank you so much. I will be live again on 11:30, and I'm not sure if I then see see that well, look that well still. Oh yeah, I will put it in the chat. Should I put it in the chat or in the comments? Oh, I'm now totally confused. It tells you that will keep you awake. Yeah. So I will be live again tonight, 23:30 p.m. And meanwhile, a mosquito bit me. Oh, that's not nice. But I was, of course, offending a cockroach. Oh, I feel so sorry for the cockroaches being smashed. I did not. That was just an imaging. That was not a literal wish. Maybe the mosquito punished me for that. Yeah, okay. Well, I will post on my timeline the time counter. So tonight in few hours. Ja, ik zal erbij zetten. I will add. Check my timeline. Is that not the best way, Barry? To promote, I will be live again tonight in few hours. Check timer countdown. And oh. Check my timeline. Oh, that would be great, Barry. I did not do that yet. For what time? 11:30. I am going live. That was the plan. So I will put already this in the chat. So, for everyone who likes to join me later on, I plan on introducing myself because I think new people will get to meet me. So you will hear what you already know, maybe, but it could also be refreshing. Well, I hope it will be refreshing for myself as well, and then I will not fall asleep. Oh, gosh. Oh, gee, what I read about Leo. Oh, that's sad news. Oh, that's you know, I learned things of updates. Oh, he's really happy. Oh, that's great. Okay. Now, because I saw he lost his house, maybe it was because of circumstances, but yes, 23:30. Yeah. And I will put it also on Facebook on my timeline. So, I'm already nervous for that's in 1 hour and a half already. Wow, thank you so much, Barry. I will post it on my timeline. His dog, blah. Oh, blah. Yeah, that's nice. That he's happy. That's the most important thing, that he's happy. And that counts for everyone, of course. Happiness. Very important. Okay. Right. Okay. I will put it now on Facebook on my timeline, and then I will repost it. Okay. I will do also it as a post on itself that appears to be smarter, isn't it? Okay. 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 Ta-da! Before we know it, it's already 11:30. It is refreshing as well, Barry, to again go live. Because I plan on now go offline in a few minutes, and then 11:30 in a refresh new online going attempt. If you know what I mean. It feels better than to stay online, isn't it? Isn't it better? Yeah, okay. Power nap, yeah. Otherwise I will be very sleepy, I think. Thanks so much. Where are you? The location. Oh, okay. We'll put this one. Okay. All right. Oh, I will look. I will look up how Leo is doing. I cannot want to say that every live stream. Like I wish I could catch in with everyone who is going live. All right. Well, dear everyone. Yes, Jos, I'm also going offline. And again, invitation to join in later on at 11:30. I'm not sure how long I will then live stream. Maybe only 5 minutes. The first 5 minutes. And everyone for who is who wants and is going for their sleep, have a good night, a good night's rest. And otherwise, maybe see you later at 11:30. A different night, a different evening. So maybe see you later on. And otherwise, coming Saturday, of course. And then I will let you know for the ones who then will not be joining me maybe later on how it went. Maybe that's nice too. So everyone, thank you so much for being here. Like, subscribe, share would be great. Barry, of course, thanks so much for moderating and technical help and everything more. Thanks so much. Follow him as well. Most of you know him. Subscribe, share, like, and I see you all maybe later tonight, and otherwise see you next Saturday. Okay, everyone, bye bye. I'm not going to say ka-ching. I want to, but I'm not going to do that. So, hey, I enjoyed it very much. Bye. Ja, thanks Delvertje. Alright, doeg. You're welcome, Tineke Jessie. Bye. Ciao.